was alarming.
Results tonight after a KXAN investigation reveals the city of Austin using a residential neighborhood as a trash dump site for years. It started when investigator Kelly Wiley and our team followed a viewer tip.
And then caught city crews sweeping garbage from across the city into a cul-de-sac just yards from homes along Onion Creek.
Carol Orton misses the sounds she used to hear on her street.
And one evening have rap music and a barbecue on one side and Mexicano music on the other side and sitting in your back porch, listening to the sounds of a neighborhood.
She's lived in this Onion Creek neighborhood for nearly 30 years. But after devastating floods in 2013 and 2015, Carol's neighbors slowly moved away, taking buyouts that led to demolition. Today, her home is one of 3 still standing.
What sounds do you hear now?
The trucks on the street where the trash is, but they aren't obnoxious sounds, you know, the beep of a backup, the sound of a truck.
Early in the morning, sweeping trash from across the city into her neighborhood, just yards from her fence line. Our cameras caught city trucks day after day after day, piling trash on the nearby cul-de-sac.
I said, you know, what are y'all doing? And the response from a worker was, we sweep the 6th Street area at night and we dump it here and we try to get it picked up the same day. Keyword try.
That's not what's happening?
No.
The dumping in Carol's neighborhood has been happening so long and so often, it's captured on Google Street View back to 2022. In that time, city records show at least one of the neighbors complained to 311, the city's information center, that their neighborhood had become a dumping ground. It's a concern we also brought to Amy Slagle, the acting assistant director of ARR, or Austin Resource Recovery, the city department in charge of street sweeping. She explained this neighborhood is an ideal temporary site for crews before taking larger piles to the landfill.
We understand that people would be concerned about having a lot of vehicle traffic in their neighborhoods, and that it may bring unwanted litter and debris. So we try to be mindful of that.
So why do it around anybody's home then?
So as we've seen Austin grow, we've lost a lot of our staging sites. So we really, these are the few remaining sites that we have, and they're really in remote locations.
The staging site that you have now, it's within yards of this woman's yard, and her neighbor is right across the street from her. So it isn't remote to those families that are over there.
We also had questions about the environmental impact after watching crews hose off their trucks and wash the debris down storm drains in that area.
Would that be in line with policy, or would that be a problem?
That's not in line with our process.
After the interview, ARR watched our video and said it was concerned with what it showed. Within a week, the agency cleaned this cul-de-sac behind Carol's house and sent us an email promising to stop using this spot as a staging area for the city's trash.
They've assured us that it's no longer happening in this area, and we expect to hold them to it.
Austin City Council member Vanessa Fuentes represents the district where that neighborhood sits.
I often think about there are ways where systemic biases show up, and when you have this type of procedures happening in an area that is predominantly Latino, an area that has already suffered catastrophic flooding events where there have been loss of lives and displacement of communities, for me it was alarming.
It's nice to know, even though there's only 3 or 4 of us left here in this beautiful neighborhood, that somebody cares. Thank you, KXAN.
The city tells us there never was a written policy about using this neighborhood as a dump site, only a verbal directive back in 2019. But we also learned it was not the only site used for this purpose. 2 more on Great Northern Boulevard and one at the Austin Resource Recovery property on Baum Road. But after our report, the department is now only using the one on its property.
Now, you mentioned that neighbors had been complaining, calling 311 about these trash piles for a while now. Did the city ever get back to them, and why did the dumping continue?
Yeah, it's a mystery that we're trying to figure out. Officials looked into that after we asked. They told us some complaints went to other departments and were not forwarded to ARR. They're now looking into how that happened and how to better address concerns in the future.
And Kelly, what about that video of the crews washing the trucks and all the debris was going into the storm drain?
Very interesting video. Officials tell us what we caught in this video should not be happening. They're now providing additional training to crews to follow proper procedures, and they're doing regular field evaluations. Going forward, crews are being directed to only wash vehicles at ARR service centers.
Now, the woman in your story asked us, why not just take all the trash to the landfill in the first place?
That was the big question we were getting from neighbors. Well, the city is saying that this area is about 10 miles away from the landfills, and it's more convenient for their crews to be able to drop it there and try to get it there by the end of the day. The problem is, though, as we show in our story, that's not happening. And now the city is, I think, more aware that neighbors are not happy with the situation.
All right, Kelly, well, thank you for looking into this for us. And don't forget that this story started with a tip, a viewer tip. If you have something you think we should investigate, email us at reportit@kxan.com.